we should have totally got Kyle some loin. Two, one. Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Jungle Lord of the Jungle episode. And this is the first time you're seeing it on our show. So we have Crystal here today to tell us all about this epic game. Hey, Crystal.
Epic.
Hi. So Jungle Lord is a Williams System 7 game. 1981. A lot of other really great games like Bad Cats, another cats related. Junkyard.
Hold on one second, Crystal.
Yeah.
Everything you're saying is great. Something's going with your mic now. I know.
Is it
Try
on?
to talk.
It's
It's
not
always
on.
a mic check.
Oh my god, I thought Kyle had done this.
No,
Maybe if Kyle wasn't too distracted playing X-Files.
I tested it. You just have to hold it down. There you go. Now it's on. There you go. Turn it off and on again.
Oh, okay.
No. That's just a joke.
Oh, I
it's
see.
actually good now.
Apologies, folks, for that. None of you
All
heard.
right. Can you guys hear Crystal now?
Yeah,
We've
how do I
never
sound?
had a sound issue on this show before.
Everyone says hello. Yay, they say much better.
Kyle
All right,
was
we're gonna
Kyle was punking me.
All right, we just reversed. All right, and now we're gonna learn about this new game on PinTech Live with Jungle Lord. Crystal, tell us all about this game.
Yes, Jungle Lord came out in 1981. It was, I think, the second of 4 System 7 games. Is that right? Does that sound right?
Second of 4 dual level games.
Dual level games, that's right. Yeah, so there was Black Knight, and then this one, and then Solar Fire.
Uh-huh.
And the other ones don't matter because we're not talking about those today. We're talking about this game.
But that was the coolest one.
They're pretty good. But so the designer was Barry Ausler. He did other really great fun games. He did another cat-related game called Bad Cats, which is one of my personal favorites. A lot of people love that one. He did Junkyard, yeah, some good stuff. So this is, like Kyle mentioned, the second multi-level game Williams released. About 6,000 of these. There were 2 versions. The first version that came out had a red cabinet, and there was just a little less than 100 of those made, and then they switched to the blue apparently because they said it was better or better received or something. Apparently there's a black cabinet out there somewhere in Germany, somebody said. I don't know if that's bunk or what's up with that, but
Black Cat.
yeah, Black Jungle Lord. So pretty great. I played this for the first time at Pinburg, and it was a blast. It was so much fun to just go in and be like, oh, I've never played this before. Wow, there's lots of drop targets. It's pretty rare, I think, to like a multi-level game from this era. There are these double treble targets at the top, which is like a double scoring feature, and then a little bagatelle, which is all right, I guess. I know that
some of the most annoying noises in pinball come from that bagatelle.
Oh yeah, and
Really?
from the multi-ball, apparently there's like a tiger that just doesn't be quiet, and so yeah, I think that's about it for Jungle Lord. Don't have very many facts on this one.
Is there anything? Can the ball go underneath the upper playfield? Like I can kind of see like a hole there.
Yeah, I think it's a horse.
Is that like a pathway for the ball or anything, or?
I think it's like a horseshoe.
Is it like a little orbit or something? I don't remember if it's a mini orbit or if it's just leads to a saucer.
Maybe it comes in here and in here. I don't remember, honestly.
We'll find out soon enough.
We will find out. I hope you'll invite me to play it when it's better looking.
Oh, better looking. Yeah, it'll be nicer.
It looks great, but obviously Kyle's going to work some magic on it and flip out everything, flip out the rubbers. I don't know, what else are you going to do? Oh, he's going to talk about it.
A lot of everything.
She doesn't know yet.
Yeah, we don't know. I've actually never even looked at the game.
I'm kind of sad it wasn't on, because a lot of the sound effects, like the what's it called, the drawing is just him going, "Me, Lord, you jungle.
Fight me in jungle." It says all sorts of good stuff. Well, it was working just fine until it decided to stop working right before when we turned the cameras on.
Right before we started.
But I think I figured out what's wrong, and it's going to be a good learning moment. So.
Yeah. Oh, also, this is the second game with MagnaSave.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
that
it
was
has
something else.
MagnaSave. That's right.
In this game, I think the MagnaSave is way cooler on this game than Black Knight, where Black Knight holds it on for a certain amount of time. Where this game, as long as you hold the button in, it will hold the magnet on, right? So you can like build up credits for how much magnet time you have, so you can use it to like fling the ball around. It's wacky. You can do some crazy stuff with it.
The other thing I learned about this game when I was doing some research about it is that the art was done by a husband and wife team. Constantino and Jeannie Mitchell. And Jeannie also did the art for Pac-Man. Or Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man.
Baby Pac-Man?
No, not Baby Pac-Man.
The Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. Pac-Man thing?
Yeah, and they had worked together on a lot of games before. I believe she does mostly coloring on these games when they work as a team. But I thought that was really cool.
They worked in pinball until the 90s, working with Gottlieb also, which is kind of neat. But some of the worst pinball art definitely came from Constantino Mitchell. So worst is subjective, but I think it's honestly, this is hilarious.
Yeah.
Flash is weird, but anywho.
Is this one before Flash?
No. Flash came a few years before this one. Flash was 78, I think. They made so many Flashes that I think it spanned 2 years, and it spanned 2 systems too. Some of the Flashes run on the System 4, and some of them run on System 6. And like I've talked to Steve Ritchie about this, but Steve said that Flash was the best-selling pinball machine of all time, and Williams cut the order short. They still had demand for it, but they cut it short because they wanted to leave the market wanting. Whether that was a good idea or not, we don't know.
Oh, wow.
But
I mean, Patrick Bergner on Facebook said there's about 19,000 units made.
With Flash, the only other game that was produced more than Flash was Addams Family. But it's pretty amazing considering. But that's the funny disparity between 1978. It's like 19,000 units, and then in 1981 we're like 6,000 units, and then in 1984, like all 4 Williams pinball machines shared one flyer. That was the massive up and then the really fast down of pinball. So. But yeah, this game definitely.
That game, Jungle Lord, has 2 MagnaSaves. Is MagnaSave something that breaks down easily? Is that something that we could see up close later in an episode, Kyle? Like how to fix MagnaSaves? Is that even a thing?
It doesn't really break, but yes, we will look at it. It can. I mean, the magnets are weird, but we can look at it. It's pretty simple. It's actually very elegant the way it's implemented. So.
All right, cool. All right, before we let Crystal go back to responding to all of y'all's questions, as our, #1 customer service rep for Marco Pinball. Wow. Both of you say what your favorite MagnaSave game is.
Well, I only know of this one in Black Knight.
Well, this one is my favorite MagnaSave game.
Yeah.
Grand Lizard.
Yeah.
Doesn't Grand Lizard have a MagnaSave?
Grand Lizard will probably be my favorite, if that is true. I don't play it all that often.
So, but the funny thing is, let's jump back with MagnaSave, right? So the 4 dual level games, Black Knight, Jungle Lord, Pharaoh. That was the one you forgot. Have you ever played Pharaoh?
Maybe.
That one's cool. It's weird. And then Solar Fire. But Grand Lizard is Solar Fire, except for without a second level. So, and a couple other things.
Grand Lizard does have a second level.
It has an upper playfield, but
upper part,
but Solar Fire is actually like upper. It actually goes up. In Grand Lizard, you shoot the ramps and it comes out the lizard's mouth. On Solar Fire, it's a raised playfield. So, but I think Grand Lizard does have timed MagnaSaves, and I forgot about that. So I think Crystal might be on the right track here with it. The best MagnaSave game.
Yeah, and I like
Wildman says Twilight Zone. Does Twilight Zone have a MagnaSave?
No, it's got magnets. It's got flipper-controlled magnets, right?
Yeah.
But
welcome, Gary.
I mean, I guess what? I mean, even the new Black Knight has a MagnaSave, technically, right?
True.
Yeah. All right, so out of all those games, I vote. What did I just say? What was the lizard game?
What was the lizard game?
Grand Lizard.
Grand Lizard.
Also
Man,
a Barry
I'm
Oursler
gonna go
game.
play that this weekend. You say Grand Lizard too, Kyle? What do you say?
I think Jungle Lord. I really like this game. It's weird.
Midge, what do you say? Midge, we have Midge today as our camera operator, so you won't see him in the chat. Maybe he'll multitask, but.
I'm gonna go with Grand Lizard. Yeah, I'm gonna complete the trifecta. It's a great game.
It's a perfect game.
Good choice.
It's a perfect game. It's got baboons and bongos and an angry
I
lizard.
like the original backglass though, the prototype backglass for it. Have
Yeah.
you seen that? Yeah,
It's way cooler.
Whoa.
I know. Here we are with Jungle Lord, and we're talking about every game
That has a jungle theme.
I wish we had a Grand Lizard.
Jungle Lord. It looks beautiful though. It looks like a lot of fun.
It's real fast when that ball comes down this ramp, though. I tell you what. Woo, zoom. See you later, ball.
We'll see if we can make it as fast as the one at Pinburg.
Oh, so fast.
All right. Well, Kyle, are you ready to start working on this game?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Tell Crystal bye. Thanks for
Bye,
joining
Crystal.
us.
Now, everyone
Let's
call
get her
Marco
in here
Specialties.
more.
Everyone
more
call
Crystal
Marco
on this show.
Specialties in like 8 minutes, so they all go to Crystal, and she has to answer all the phone calls. Anyways.
They're all saying bye. Yeah, they're all like waiting for her to come back. All right.
Move my little desk over so my tools are closer, and we're gonna look at a game that I've never messed with at all, or looked at at all.
All right, Crystal, don't forget to take your mic off before you leave.
I did.
Okay, cool. I can't see. You'll just be driving away, then we'll start hearing your radio music on the way. Stop. Oh, that was awesome.
Thank you, Crystal.
Yeah, thanks, Crystal.
I can see what cameras. Is it?
We need a segment where Crystal can hang out with us for longer. That's like way too.
That will be great one day. So, okay.
All right. I need to switch cameras.
You need to switch cameras, and also we might need to mess with the set. So just tell me what needs to move and whatnot. Thankfully, we have the world's best cameraman back helping us today. Thank you. He also brought me lunch because I did not have enough time to eat lunch before I came here today. So thank you.
Oh, you can grab your handheld camera and put it on the playfield.
Yeah, well, let's look at the game first, right? Because this is a game that I am going to keep. This is a game that I'm going to try to make as nice as possible, and will probably live in my pinball room at some point. So if you want to pop the handheld on.
Yeah, it is. Oh,
is it frozen?
Oh, okay. Just kidding.
Well, let's. While Emoto tries to get that going again, this game is a little rough. It's kind of rough in the same, similarly rough in the same way that what's that game called? Strikes and Spares kind of was. But there's something weird I noticed, like with older Williams playfields, they wear differently than the Bally playfields. The Bally playfields always tend to be chopped up, and you get lots of ball swirl. Where the Williams playfields, they look like they like contract, and then they start doing that planking thing, right? Where the silk screen kind of separates from, I don't know. Emoto, I just unplugged and replugged that camera in, so maybe it'll get better.
Great.
So I figure, actually, instead of looking at some of the other stuff while we wait for this camera to come on, let's utilize the camera that is working currently. This game does have pinballs in it. I'm going to remove them. We've got a very sticky ball serve armature, but that's to be expected with a very old game. There seems to only be 2 pinballs in it, but we'll find out really soon if there isn't just 2 pinballs in it. Okay, we're good. Let's see what a rat's nest this is. I haven't seen the underside yet. Okay, it looks like it might be caught up. The playfield harness is like extremely short. Whoever put the head on, no names being put out here today. Let's see if we can fix this really quick.
Handheld is back up and working.
Okay, cool. Oh, wow. Yeah, this is weird. All of the the whole like playfield harness is really stuck. Maybe we'll have to jump in the back glass. Okay, let's reverse and go back to the handheld like we never did any of that. The outlying cosmetic things, like especially when I get an old game like this, I can see a few things like right off the bat. That's disgusting. And these get replaced right away. This is kind of dirty and can be cleaned up nicely. A new barrel spring will be really nice here. These are the incorrect legs, but they're the correct height. I believe games of this era would not have the gusset. This is like a WPC style leg. These legs it's supposed to have a 28.5-inch leg, and that's what this is. But they went through like a couple different styles, right? So the early ones are going to be like totally flat without this gusset. And then you've got around Pinbot or something. I think whatever the first System 11 games were, they had a half gusset that went the half of the length of the leg. And then with the WPC games, they went with a full gusset. And these are very strong legs. Does that matter? No. Is that me just being like super anal? Yes. So I'll probably change them.
Hey,
but
what's up, Garrett? It's Lit Pinball in the house.
Who's here? It's Lit Pinball. Hey, what's up, man?
Pinball. Everybody's here.
But even if I weren't going to change these legs out, the bare minimum we're going to want to do is replace these leg levelers. Those are disgusting. You've got like a nice layer of dirt and rust on the top of this leg. Legs are cheap enough now that it's worth just replacing them. You can go ahead and clean these things up, but they're not that expensive. No. Let's see. Otherwise, it's in okay shape. There was a lockdown bar installed at one point, and someone looks like someone shoved like a dowel inside with some glue. That's classy. The coin door is in pretty good shape, which is always refreshing to see. All of the coin switches haven't been mangled. Well, this one has. That's really common on these old Williams games. Their coin doors relied on this little wire here with the spring tension basically of this switch to reset this arm. But if this becomes uncentered, it doesn't float clean, and then these switches are also commonly mangled. They're very gentle, or they're very delicate rather. So when the coin falls through, this rocks and closes the switch, and that adds the credit, but you commonly find those things absolutely destroyed. The playfield of this game is okay. This is typical. It's well used, well loved, right? This is that kind of planking that I'm talking about. It's got a bit of ball swirl. It's not as bad as what you would see, like what we saw on that, what's it called, Strikes and Spares, but this is really common on these Williams games, is this kind of wear on the playfield. I guess you could call that planking. It looks like, you know, the top layer has kind of started to contract at a different rate that the wood has. This is just super screwed up. You see wear like this on mini playfields a lot, or not mini playfields, but upper playfields. It's common to have this sort of a weird chunked up wear on a Black Knight. These flippers are very powerful, and I can imagine what is happening is the ball kind of hops, and the ball is striking these surfaces, and that's what causes this kind of wear. But again, I don't care about the appearances as much as long as it plays well, and I think this one will be able to clean up very nicely. The cabinet is in pretty okay shape. It's chunked up and worn out. This thing probably spent some time disassembled in the back of some operator's warehouse at some point, but again, who cares? Jungle Lord here himself is becoming flaky, and so is his girlfriend. So unfortunately, that's just like super common on Jungle Lords. I think a lot of games that use this flesh tone ink, they don't, my butt. They don't last well. Anyways, I would like to get a new one. I know that the guys at BG Resto do make a new back glass. So I kind of mentioned also that I did get this game working. We worked on this board, I think on PinTech at one point, and it was working. It was working great. It was working for weeks. And then, oh, it's super dark. Hey, let me bring a light over. It was working for weeks. It was great. I was so proud and happy that the whole thing was like seemingly going to not be much of a headache. And then Crystal stood next to it,
Daniel, welcome. And
it stopped working. Is that her fault? No. But I think I figured out what it was right before we went live, so we'll take a look at it. This game has a insane amount of writing inside. I found this kind of humorous. Someone very clearly labeled what everything is in the back box is. You got your power supply, soundboard. Someone wrote on the insert, like,
oh wow, nice.
You got big white, mead white, small white, tiny white. You got they named all the plugs. It was great. Big blue, not to be confused with the Atari capacitor. But yeah, so this game definitely was shipped to someone with instructions on how to reassemble it, I'm assuming. Actually, no, I did find that just a few days ago. There's like a, this is a two-handed thing I'm trying to do with one hand. I think someone must have bought this on eBay or something, but here's a great set of instructions on how to assemble a pinball machine.
Read it for us.
In vertical position, bolt on front legs, tip forward, lift back end up, set on knee, bolt on back legs, body is set up, pull out power cord. The most important step, that should have been bolded. Unwrap head, glass lifts up and out, set head on body, slide back to catch plate. That's the most important part about these old Williams games, and I will demonstrate this on this game before we wrap this series up. There's a plate here that attaches to a flat plate, and you have to slide it on. And that keeps the head in position while you're trying to bolt the head down. So many
Viking?
No, different than Viking. But a lot of people, they'll take these Williams games and they'll just shove the head on, bolt them down, and then the whole thing gets bent up. But I'll show you. We'll do it at some point. Anyways, this isn't that interesting, but this was really neat. Win a trip to Las Vegas in the second annual Miss Q Toledo Pinball Shootout. Qualified for paid entry and expense-paid trip to the Papa World Championships to be held at the Sahara Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, February 5th to 8th, 1998.
Wow.
So you got a little bit of...
You have to keep that. You have
oh,
to
definitely.
It.
This is a little bit of Papa history that came with this thing, so... Kind of fun. But yeah, so I had this game booting up, everything was good, and then it started wigging out. Let's see, Steve, do we have anything on the displays? No? Okay, so check this out. We're gonna have a game that's gonna be booting up as soon as I wiggle this important plug on the power supply. Now it says something on the displays, right? Yeah. So what we have here is this thing was working dandy, but I did all the repairs to the computer. I never touched the power supply. That's probably where we're going to start today after we take a look at the underside of the game. We've worked on a very similar power supply before. I think if we jump back to Time Warp, This power supply is also very, very similar to even the System 11 power supply, like we worked on roller games and Fire. This is a very common hack. You see, these are the general illumination wires. The connector burnt up, so someone decided to solder the pins straight to, or the wires straight to the pins, which is annoying. That'll make it less fun to take out. But on this power supply, though, we have, if I remember right, I might get some of this wrong, but these are your outputs for the high voltage. This is the high voltage section here. These are, I think this is the 18 volts and such for your feature lamps. I don't remember what this is. I think this is AC coming in. This is a ground. You've got your general illumination.
It's labeled.
Yeah, it's labeled into power supply. Okay, cool. No. I know that this is definitely AC coming in. This is a ground plug. I don't remember what this is, but this is, I mean, this is your general illumination. This is 6.3 volts AC coming in from the transformer. But whatever, this is the important one because this is your 12 volts, ground, and 5 volts, which again, I wiggled it and the whole thing comes to life. But now if I wiggle it again, it might die. No, I can't get, there it goes. Do you see the light stopping there for a second? Yeah, we've got some bad crack solder on the back of this plug.
So you have to pull the whole board out, or you just pull the plug out and replace it?
We're going to pull the whole board out and inspect it. At the bare minimum, I mean, we're going to want to replace the at least the filter capacitor. I think I have some of that stuff here. But let's take a look at the game first. This soundboard is going to definitely get recapped sometime. The term recap means basically just replacing all of these electrolytic capacitors here. The soundboard does work. This thing does make noise, and that made me very happy when I turned it on the first time because troubleshooting these things is not fun. This board here is for the speech. You've got a potentiometer on the speech board that changes the mix between speech and sound. I don't know why they included that, but maybe if you didn't want Jungle Lord talking to you, you can turn them off. But yeah, it's neat. There's like 3 or 4 words stored on each one of these 16 kilobit ROMs. It's kind of funny. Actually, if we can press this button, it'll run the sound test. Can you hear that?
Yeah, I love that sound, man.
Tiger, stampede, double, you win again,
I always love the sound test on this one because at the end of Jungle Lord talking and screaming at you, there's just like a random elephant going, rah! Anywho, yeah, this is okay. We're in a good spot with this game. The other things I notice in here, other than this, which we're going to want to fix, someone has kind of hacked up these lamp returns, or I think these are the lamp returns. We're going to want to repair this nicely with using heat shrink instead of electrical tape because that's no-no. But yeah, I don't know. Any questions?
Zach Brannigan says System 11 has perfect sounds. Not a great question.
These games did have really good sound. I definitely think that Data East had the best sound.
That's a cool shot.
Going forward, but I'm going to try to figure out why the harnesses were stuck up. Here's a pro tip. I've made this mistake once, and thankfully it didn't cause any damage. On these old Williams games, you've got 2 plugs that are, which is the live side, Emoto, the right side or the left?
Right.
Oh, okay. Hey, put the handheld.
No.
You failed.
I know. I was trying to do some sneaky stuff.
Would you mind throwing the handheld cam back? This is a real common mistake. These 2 plugs in the back of the Williams head, if you ever had the head disconnected, they are the same. You can plug them into each other. The only difference being that one is black and one is white. Make sure you plug them in correctly because you can do all sorts of nasty damage if you mess these things up. When in doubt, even though these are, you know, you look at this and be like, oh, you must be an idiot to, you know, plug those things in wrong. But there's plenty of people that have done that, me included, once. It's a mistake you only make once, though. But when in doubt with connectors also, you know, try to look at what's coming in and what's coming out, right? Look, here in the top left, we got a big fat red wire. Hey, there's a big fat red wire there. You know, hey, there's a black and a blue one. Oh, yeah, that all matches. Okay, those must go to each other. That's not, you know, gospel, but you know, that's something you can at least consider when if you're nervous about plugging plugs into each other. I'm going to try to untangle this harness and figure out what the heck it's getting caught on and why I cannot move the playfield at all in this game. Let's see. Well, probably because half of it is wrapped around this capacitor for no good reason. So let me undo that.
Let's see. Nice.
Okay. That might help. Okay, let's see if we can lift the playfield up, and we'll see what the rest of the game looks like underneath and make sure we're not going to spend a bunch of time working on a total turd. It is still really tight. What is going on here?
It's caught on more treasures hidden in the cabinet.
I wish. I'm going to have to set the I'm going to... Steve, may I... Hold on.
He needs help.
I do need help. Would you mind holding this really quick? I'm just going to dig back here. I need to get my hands underneath to figure out what's tight, what's taut, and what is stuck. The harnesses are plenty long in this game, but I think in this case it's just they're wrapped around each other in a way that is awful. That is a little better.
Look at Midget's luscious hair.
It is a heavy playfield. But worry not, you're...
Steve with no beard, his beard is being hidden properly by a mask.
Here's a pro tip. When you're putting
Love
these...
said, anytime I reach in the back of a machine, I feel afraid of dying. Anytime I lift up a playfield, I am afraid of dying because I feel like I'm going to drop it.
Yes, be careful. My meteor
Especially
tried to
during
eat
that
me
mode.
once. Remember that?
Yeah. Ooh,
That was fun.
painful.
I had a nice bloody head for a while.
That hurt my head.
Let's see. So, when you are putting a head back onto a playfield, you know, don't be a evil, awful savage and let things get tied up. Make sure wires sit nice and they flow well, and you can pull things around. I digress. This looks okay. This actually is like very, very... it makes me happy because this doesn't look like a gigantic rat's nest. Someone committed a cardinal sin and disconnected the screamy buzzer, which is one of the most annoying, amazing things on this game. We will have to reconnect that. If anyone's familiar with this game, it's like a knocker but better.
I don't know.
What do you...
I hate these Sony cams so much, man. I don't know how they became like the tried and true live streaming cams. They're
Well,
like the bane of
maybe
my-
because you're the only one cool enough to do like remote production where everyone else is just sitting there focusing it, you know?
No, even the camera operator that's in their hands can't even
Might have
use
something
that
to do
camera.
with me.
No, I would just turn it back on manual focus and then see if you can like tap on that LCD screen to find a focus point. You know, it's not you, it's the camera.
We can let them work on camera-y things. I'll get out of their way while they do
We
it.
just want to do like cool, slow, epic zoom-ins on your face, Kyle,
Ugh.
on your
I thought
hand.
it was on auto, but now it's on auto.
Oh, okay, let's try it again.
So, let's see. A couple things. One of the neat things about this game is it has super cool remote drop targets, or remote drop targets. So if you want to throw the
does that
small
mean?
camera back on,
Yeah.
So each and every one of the drop targets in this back bank has their own solenoid to raise them. And then they also have a solenoid to knock all of them down at the same time. So that allows the game to challenge you with that, Crystal was mentioning it, the double trouble, whatever scoring feature. It will be able to raise and lower a certain amount of drop targets. It's, I guess, if that makes sense, right? It can individually raise and lower them, and then knock them all down at the same time. So if it needs to only bring up 2 or 3 to create a challenge, it can, which is kind of neat. The upper playfield is very cramped, but it's neat how elegant they're able to make these things. You've got 2 kick-out saucers on this thing. You've got 2 slingshots, 2 flippers, this ridiculous drop target bank. And Crystal mentioned too, it's like this thing is just chock full of drop targets. You got 5 up here, 3 here, another 3 bank here. This was a game that was made on the coattails of high sales, right? Black Knight was a huge seller, Flash was a huge seller, so they obviously were able to provide quite the budget for making the next couple games, right? This is expensive. Not only do you have to make one play field, you got to make 2, and then you have to make the conjoining pieces, and that makes the wiring harnesses more complex. But not only that, they also threw in this ridiculous drop target bank. The bill of material on this game must have just been super high. All of the dual level games really were. We're talking about Magna saves. Let's look at the Magna save feature really quick. So on these games, and this will be similar to Twilight Zone. Wait, hold on. Do I have a good example of a game with a magnet here? No. So a lot of times, let me name some, right? Think of Metallica. Think of, I mean, that's kind of the only one I can think of right now anyways. But there's roller games, right? We worked on roller games. You have this big ferrous metal piece that runs through the center of the electromagnet, which sticks up on top of the playfield. And that is what the ball will stick to. On these games, instead of putting a big ferrous magnet, they were able to mount the magnets close enough to the playfield. See this big, I think this...
Oh, yeah. See, that's what I was wondering, what those magnets look like. Wow.
Yeah, so this looks like it's routed in maybe a 1/2 inch, maybe a little less than a 1/2 inch. But you've got your electromagnet here, and again, the difference between this and this really isn't that much. A coil is just a magnet. A magnet is just a very strong coil. So the way that they run these is, I believe, on a game like Gorgar or something, which uses a very similar system, it uses an older looking relay, right? But a relay also is just a coil, which is driven and then changes states. So what we have here is a relay that is driven by one of these drive transistors back here. When this coil inside the relay closes, it switches the internal switches here to another state, which then powers this sucker. So I think the reason is because having a transistor drive this super powerful magnet would be tough, but driving this little relay is a lot easier for the transistor, right? So if that makes sense. We'll bust one of these open one day, and that might make a little more sense for y'all. But I'm trying to see. I don't remember the wiring. I don't want to get it wrong. You've got individual fuses here that fuse the power coming into each magnet. So if anything ever fails, this should be a protection for that whole circuit. But yeah, I don't know. It's pretty neat. It's elegant. They don't really fail too often, as long as you're not over-fusing things and you know. The flippers on these old Williams games, they suck because of the way that the brackets are set up. If you look at this and then you go look inside your new Williams or your like 90s Williams games, they don't look too different. But the one thing that is awful on these things is they kind of just didn't figure out how to get them serviceable really well. The coil stop is built into the bracket. Can you see that?
Oh, whoa.
So
that's why those brackets are unique, right?
That's why these ones are unique.
Products that I put in our reel, and I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so I'm thinking what we might do on this one for giggles is we will maybe rebuild these guys and make sure they're happy. They probably don't need to be rebuilt. But maybe what we'll do is we can swap these guys out to the more modern design. The way you would have to take these apart is just it's a little backwards, right? Just to do basic maintenance. If I melted a coil, which is not basic maintenance, but to get this off, I need to remove the flipper, take that out, remove these screws here on the coil retainer, remove this assembly, and then take the coil out. They got smart later and they made this removable. You could just take the stop out and then disassemble everything from the back. So it's just a pain.
The spring around it looks huge compared to what the other ones that we've seen you do.
Yeah, that's a compression spring. That's normal for these older games, but it's funny looking at all of them. They are all different.
Yeah, those ones look more normal than that one. Looked like it was a little bulge, like almost like a shooter rod spring was on there. I don't know what I'm talking about. It just looked different.
A cone spring is normal. Now, I guess it's been so long since I've actually looked at a game that hasn't been torn apart and modernized, but I don't remember what's original. I mean, this is new. This is from us, I think, or someone, but it's a more modern flipper crank, right? You've got this PEM stud here and a bolt, right? Where this one you've got a nut and a cap head screw here. But it's funny because it's been so long I forgot that this existed. The way they used to attach the links to these flipper cranks was with a roll pin. But also look at that.
Yeah, see, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't like it. It doesn't look right.
No, yeah, that's all coming out. Actually, all of these flippers might be removed and something will be done to them. I think for these guys, since these guys aren't super important, we'll just make sure that they're active and they're rebuilt okay. But these guys, we definitely are going to want to replace. I personally want to replace these brackets. It's not very difficult. So yeah.
That would be a fun segment.
I've been talking a lot, so let's see. Oh, look at that.
What is that? What are we looking at?
My ball eject is getting caught up on this diode.
Oh no.
Now it isn't.
See, little things like that, right? When you get a new game, you just have to fine-tooth comb it.
Yeah. No, for sure.
One of the things you always say to me is like, yeah, those wires, those metal wires, make sure they're not touching anything. That's how I kept blowing fuses on my hard body, because like one of the wires were touching something it's not supposed to, just from transporting it.
Yeah, jiggling a pinball machine across country is definitely one way to break it, but yeah, always be tightening, always be wiggling, touch everything, right? You'll find problems just by using your sense of tighten. Anywho, let's take this power supply out because I do want to check this out.
I have a question. I don't have a question. Rhett Reese has a question. First, Rhett Reese says, hi, Kyle and Steve.
Hi, Rhett.
Hey, Rhett.
Excited. And then also says, can you use those crank styles on all or just Williams?
These ones are just a Williams style. Now, that's not 100% true because there's always like intricacies to that, right? But the Spanish games also used very similar cranks and stuff. And I guess now if we really made it more complicated, Jersey Jack uses that kind of stuff. Spooky also uses the Williams flipper. But yeah, no, these are for a Williams game. Ugh.
So they like how Williams designed their flipper, Max?
Well, the Spanish straight copied Williams because they could. Jersey Jack, I believe, at that point, right, those things weren't under a patent anymore, and everyone kind of universally loved the Williams stuff. You could get it everywhere. So I think that's probably why they went with the Williams style. Spooky, also probably the same reason.
What about American Pinball? They do too, surely, right?
I would assume so, but honestly, it's been so long since I've looked at it. I've only actually ever worked on an American pinball game once or twice. I haven't really been under the hood enough. Maybe if someone here... I
just remember when Houdini came out, everyone was saying it's like the best of all the different manufacturers. Like they took the best pieces of all the different manufacturers. The best of Williams, best of Bally, best of Stern, best of Data East, and combined it together.
I don't know. If they really took the best of all manufacturers, they probably should have used Stern's flippers then, because I think Stern's flippers are better, but maybe they did. I'm going to cut these. We're going to have to replace this header anyways, so I'm going to cut the general illumination wires. I don't remember if the Williams manuals give you the wire order. I can't imagine they don't, but I'm going to take a picture. This is the one time.
Yay! He's taking a picture, everybody.
Just in case.
It's almost in a year, and he finally takes his own advice.
There we go. Okay. I feel like...
You could always just watch the archives of the show.
Dang.
Which you can find on youtube.com/MarcoPinball.
We'll snip these guys off.
He's snipping them off. You're snipping those off because the previous owner, whoever, soldered in those pins.
Yes. The other thing I could do is maybe I don't have a cell phone. Maybe I have a terrible memory, which I actually do. I could just repin this connector right now, right? I could cut one off, stuff it into a connector, and I'm almost considering doing that now, but instead of making this repetitive like a lot of other episodes are, we'll just cut this sucker apart.
I thought you were going to say you could get a Sharpie and write it right onto the back
Oh yeah,
box.
with my excellent penmanship that I
Like
harness.
The rest of the back box is covered with so many notes.
It's like great pinball graffiti.
Thanks.
Yeah, let's take this thing out. I want to see. I did like stress test this thing too. Like I left it on for hours and hours. Be careful. Don't unscrew screws and then let them drop into the back of the game. That's a good way to get real angry at yourself. What was I gonna say? Oh, I left this thing on forever, and I was like, oh yeah, it's fine. It'll be totally fine to put on the show. We won't have any problems. And then 5 minutes before we go live, the thing starts turning off. So, you know.
That makes for better content though, right?
It really does. Because we're probably going to find something really funny right now.
Oh no. Colin said he has a package to send to us,
Uh-oh.
and you could have used it today. If I had to guess, it was probably beer.
Yes. I'm going to guess it was probably beer as well. I haven't been able to find Hop Slam.
Not
I feel
too
like I'm too late for Hop
stereotyping.
Slam. That's pretty bad.
We want to see.
Yeah, let's see.
Under the handheld?
Yeah, let me actually turn the desk, since actually we might be using the desk in a soldering position today.
Look at
Where's
that
my
roller
chair?
desk.
There it is. The most important tool in the shop, the chair.
A special tool. Ooh, Colin's sending you a special tool.
Uh-oh. Oh, I'm excited to see this special tool. Let me free up my handheld camera here. So let's take a look-see. I'm going to look at the plug. I believe in Williams coloring, the black wires are ground. I believe gray is 5 volts, and then gray with a white stripe is 12 volts. I think they use that wiring standard forever. Does this game have a manual? Has an instruction booklet, but it doesn't have a real manual. That's sad, but we'll be okay. We don't need a manual to repair things that are like just totally screwed up.
Or you can maybe get it on. Oh, we might. I don't think we have the manuals either, but
No, I don't. We don't have the Williams manuals. There are places you can find them. You can find them online if you need them in a pinch on IPDB. But if you wanted a physical copy, there are other places where you can get them. We did just get a beautiful package of original Gottlieb manuals and schematics today from Steve Young. So if you're ever looking to get some Gottlieb manuals, we've got a much better stocked selection today. And it's always fun to see when we do get like actual original pieces. It's neat. Anywho, we've got some intense crack solder here. Throw on the small guy.
Yeah.
This is awesome. You're going to want to focus in on this guy.
Ooh, I love zooming in.
And see if you can get that. I'll take a picture with my phone and use my new like 10x
nice.
zoom. Oh wait,
You
no,
got it
hold
on
on,
your
hold on,
phone?
hold on.
Ooh,
We're gonna-
get the thingy.
Yeah, I just
Little
remembered.
Jeweler's guy.
This is so
Jeweler's
rad.
Eye? Is it called a jeweler's eye?
Yeah, or jeweler's
Jeweler's
loop
eye.
or something.
Luke.
Check this out. This is super bad.
Wait, hold on. Let me. Oh, got it. Oh.
This is
Yeah.
a very important
yeah.
tool.
That
Emoto
is
makes
nice.
fun of me for it, but I have terrible eyes. but being able to like get superpowers, right, by having eye zoom ability, this is, you really, really need to have some sort of an assist here. Even if you can't see it with your...
No, this is awesome.
This is very visible with the naked eye. Like this is really bad.
This is amazing.
But there have been situations where I've had cracked solder that I swear didn't exist, and then you pop out some superpower eye, and you can see how bad it actually is. So
yeah, everyone's saying, "Ooh, that's bad."
Yeah, this is particularly
That's
bad. We can trace it back to, right? Let me see if I can do this eloquently.
Eloquently. Why is your eye naked? iSkidoo asks.
I need some cybernetic implants or something.
I don't make fun of Kyle's eyesight. I just ask for dynamic lighting in the studio, but he needs house lights on because of his eyesight.
Yeah, we
had all the cameras on the microscopic view. That's cool. I love macro.
That would be pretty cool. So that's just this is a very important connector to not have working, right? This is where the lifeblood of the entire pinball machine comes out of and goes through. I am not going to be replacing this header. This header is okay.
Can we see?
Yeah.
What is okay to you?
We're not missing like a massive amount of plating or anything like that. Would it be in our best interest to replace this? Maybe. Are we going to have any like super beneficial results from replacing this header? Unlikely. So what we're going to do is we are going to I'm going to clean this up here, and we are going to reflow the solder. What we need
then that will make the game turn back on?
It will. In the long term, we're going to jump back in with this thing, or what I will be doing is we will be jumping in and I will be replacing all the capacitors that make a difference. You've got this big capacitor here, which is your filter capacitor. This filters the voltage before it goes to the regulator to get turned into a nice stable voltage. So think about this as like a water tower. It's going to make sure you have a good constant pressure and a smooth pressure coming in here. If you didn't have a smooth pressure coming through, you might have your 5 volts jump and jiggle around, which could cause the computer to not work. I need to remember where the other important capacitors are, but I believe these two small guys down here and this one are also, and maybe this one, are also in the 12 volt circuit. This capacitor here on the high voltage section actually looks like it's bulging a little bit. Let me get a better lit shot of that. You see that one underneath that big ceramic resistor there?
Yeah.
Do you see how it's kind of, it just doesn't look right. That one looks like it might be bulging out a little bit, which to me, I'm going to replace that. Usually I won't replace the capacitors in the high voltage section unless it's really necessary. That one, might as well do it. So I think we've been over this a couple times, but when you hear reflowing solder to a connector, that doesn't mean just reflowing solder to the connector. What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to remove all of the old solder, which is full of impurities and nastiness, and then apply new solder, which will make a stronger and better connection. So, you shouldn't ever be in a pinch where all you do is go back in here and reheat this and try to get it to readhere. Always try to do it the right way so you never have to go back in. I'm going to use some of my flux on my disgusting toothbrush, and we're going to wipe it on to this section. I have the handy dandy solder sucker with a super reamed out tip because I had to drill through it to get it unclogged. So it's time to order a new tighter tip. But let's we're going to remove the solder. Actually, here, let's do this. I was thinking about this. I would like to start kind of giving an honest opinion on the difficulty of some of this stuff. If you're having an issue like that and, your guy or someone on the internet or, you feel like, hey, I need to reflow the solder, what kind of difficulty is that? if you know how to use a soldering iron and you are comfortable with applying a soldering iron to a circuit board, I would give this a difficulty rating of 1. This is hyper basic, especially on this board. On other boards, if y'all remember last week, we were working on the White Star board. And the White Star board, that's a very fine traced. What? Which one's not? Which one's on? Oh, sorry. Steve. Since Steve hasn't been my cameraman for a while, we've lost our hand cues, and he was pointing at his eyes, and I was like, "Wait, what? What?" Sorry.
He was like, "Look at me over here."
Yeah, he's like, "Look at the right camera." Okay, let me restart. We were working on that White Star board, and those have very fine traces. They're multi-leveled. You've got traces on both sides, and circuit vias going through the board. This board is as simple as possible. This is a double-sided board, but look at the traces. Will you pop the small guy back on? Mm-hmm. Take a look at these guys. This isn't necessarily Jungle Lord related, right? But let's try to increase our ideas of knowledge of how this stuff works. These are big, fat, heavy traces. These are more difficult to rip up, pull up. You could use a lot of heat on these guys, and the likelihood of you damaging this board is much lower. Working on double-sided boards with traces like this is also a bit easier. A lot of times when you have a single-sided board, they have to cramp all sorts of little traces onto one circuit board, which means that generally they're smaller, closer together, and the likelihood of you doing some sort of damage is a little bit higher. This is a double-sided board. We have traces that run on both sides of the circuit board. Usually when a circuit board also has a double-sided construction, they're just a little sturdier, right? The traces are adhered at 2 points on the board, where if you had a single-sided board, they're kind of only, I'm just going to use the word in quotes, glued. They're kind of glued on one side, and you can lift those up a little easier sometimes. Keep this all in the back of your head. I guess what I want to say is if you are comfortable putting a soldering iron on a circuit board, this reflowing the solder here is definitely difficulty of 1. This is a very basic operation. It's an intermediate technique, but this is a basic operation. Does that make sense?
Level 1. Intermediate level 1. Yeah, we got to work on we'll make a whole chart of difficulty level gauges. I'm sure your version of difficulty is different than mine.
Well, see, and that's why
a lot of people are asking, and I had the same question too. The green film is all wrinkled. Is that an issue?
No, that's normal. It's just, I don't know, but there's no problem there. I can't tell you what causes that or why or what it is, but there's no issue. That's not a problem.
Is it crinkly?
It's a little crinkly. It kind of feels good, but what it is it is kind of like a film that goes on to protect the trace.
Nice. Oh, okay, so if you peel that film off, you see the gold traces?
The silver. You can see it crackling here. But this isn't conductive, but this is. So this is just a way to keep these bits protected. Anyways.
Oh, Brian O'Neill's here, and he said Jungle Lord is the best in his top 10.
Man, yeah. I mean, we've always had great pinball taste, haven't we, Brian? Thanks for being here. But yeah, I guess the one apprehension I've had with giving things like a difficulty rating is because in this show I've always tried to keep things fact-based and none of it, as little as possible, being opinion-based, other than things that I like to do or things I like to use. And I realize that me saying that this is a difficulty of 1 is definitely someone else's difficulty 99. But that being said, if you have the ability and the confidence to stick your soldering iron here, this is a very simple job. Instead of using the $300 tool, which I'm using all the time, and I realize that a lot of people that aren't as serious into fixing games as I am might not want to buy, let's use this. This is a manual solder pump. This is an amazing tool. We sell one very similar to this on our store. It is not this exact one. I believe the one we sell is a little bit smaller, which is okay. It just means that you will need to empty out the chamber a little more often. These do require a bit of maintenance. You could see around this O-ring here, it is starting to get a bit of solder built up around it. So it is good to take this thing apart when you empty out the chamber to take all that nasty solder off. It helps create better suction in the tube. A light little bit of like super lube on that O-ring also goes a long way. But let's show how to use this tool, because actually, criminally, we have not used this enough, and I feel bad about it. This is a much more likely tool to have in a hobbyist's toolkit. So I'll reposition the camera here.
Always wear protective eyewear, so if something does pop you in the eye when you release it, then you will be protected.
Yeah, it's a good idea. My glasses are abused. I've flung solder onto my glasses many times. It's important.
Oh, that's why you don't want to get contacts.
Oh, well, yeah, and the fact that they're just a pain in the butt. It's so much easier just to put glasses on. So what we're going to do is we have flux on here already. We've got our tool. What we want to do is introduce the solder sucker to the pad and the molten solder when it is molten, right? So what I'm going to do here is we're going to make sure that our soldering iron is connecting to the pin and the pad. We're going to bring the heat to both contact points. Put it here in the corner, get our solder sucker ready, get it nice and melted, and put it on top and suck it up.
Oh no, we missed the shot. Can you tilt your handheld camera down a little? That was the money shot.
I'm afraid not. Actually, hold on. Let me look at this thing. I think there's one position I could rotate it to get a...
You're crazy.
Wait, hold on.
Use the Interflip Dragon brand solder sucker. It's more entertaining.
The what? This is a good joke I feel like I'm missing out on.
Remember in Dragon, I think you're talking about the pinball machine, the Interflip Dragon, and the little dragons pop up?
Yeah.
And they go, wow.
Oh! Okay, well, we'll do that a little bit, but just to show people, again,
That's
with base...
where they got the sound from. Now that makes
maybe
sense. That is totally that sound.
Without needing $400 worth of investment in tools, you can also do a simple job like this using this guy. So again, we're going to work on this trace. I'm going to try to get this like danger close to the thing. Is this visible? Can you all see this? No? Hold on.
Which pin are you looking at?
The second one. Hold on. Yeah, I'll move it over to the left. I'm also going to increase the angle here, so we've got...
Okay, yeah, I see the goopy. Okay, yes. We can see that.
So again, you're going to be watching. You want to watch this stuff kind of become a uniform color, and it starts to smoke and burble a little bit, and then you hit the button and suck it away. So get it on here. It's starting to bubble. It's all uniform. It's liquided out, and then just pop. And it sucks all of the liquid solder it can through the teeny bit of suction a spring and an O-ring can make. This is tedious. This does take some time. It could cause some damage in certain applications if you're not 100% sure what you're doing, but it works. The Interflip Dragon solder sucker, that's what I'm going to call it from now on, is so much easier and so much quicker, and I will use it. But but as you see, this is pretty simple. We're not causing damage. You can hold your soldering iron on here a while. If you have a board to practice on, I definitely recommend, always not doing this on your precious board you need to fix your game. But if you have something that you've replaced and you want to try to repair, that's a good idea. I'm going to reset this camera now. Whoop. But yeah, that's why I say this is kind of a 1, because all we're doing is removing the old solder and we are reapplying new solder. So I'm going to hold this in a way that actually works for me. It'll just take 1 second. Sorry.
No.
Okay, fine. I knew that was going to garner a no.
We want the shot.
Everyone
wants the overhead.
I know, I should have. Well, next time, I didn't think we'd be doing board work today. This was kind of unplanned.
Yeah, it kind of just happened because the game wouldn't turn on. But now we're going to save it.
But what I'm going to do, I think, is we'll repair this. I will put this power supply back in, and then let's see how much works. And then we'll kind of be able to come up with a good game plan of what the next couple weeks of this show will be.
This is so exciting.
I'm glad you think so.
Hey, so while you're doing that, here's a trivia for you. Do you know what the Jungle Lord and his wife, maybe, his name is?
No, but I really want to.
Guess. You have to guess.
Tarzan and Jane.
No. Yeah, she did. Kyle wasn't listening. He was playing X-Files.
Are they George and Jeannie? Or
close.
Or not George. Constantino.
George and Constantino. No. George and
Jane?
Georgette.
Oh. Damn.
According to Max Power, 68,000. Oh, Max Power, 68,000.
I do need to replace the tip on this thing. It's not working very well anymore. I will buy the proper large size tip and get another small one.
Ooh, they could be siblings. Very well could be.
Come on. This old solder definitely takes a while to melt out sometimes. Even with the amount of flux I've brushed on. But this tip is also screwed up. I'm realizing now that my drilling is the last nail in the coffin for this old tip. So actually, we might just go back to the old-fashioned way.
Old-fashioned way.
The way that I said took too long. Steel braid? No. Now getting it hot and then flinging the board towards a wall.
IndiePin says that thing doesn't look like it's heating.
It's I might not have put enough flux on it, but also the tip is damaged. I had to
It's an optical illusion.
mess with it to get the thing to work. Okay. We're going to resolder this thing, and let's try to get this thing back on the game. Very quick, I'm going to use my jeweler's loop just to take a look at all the other plugs.
We want jeweler's loop action.
Maybe that needs to be the next PinTech giveaway. Since we haven't done bent screwdriver, everyone needs to get a jeweler's loop.
Do we sell jeweler's loops? No.
I don't think we do, but we need to, and I'm going to make that happen.
Oh, maybe they have swag ones, and then we can put our logo on it?
I doubt it. I doubt there's many swag. I mean, unless there's like some really cool jewelers conference that we have no idea exists. But there is some crack soldered on this board. I'm going to quickly attack it without going into just a ton of detail. But the takeaways from this, use magnification even if you think you have great eyes. And cracked solder usually affects the pins on the end. The pins on the end are usually the ones that take the brunt of you unplugging it because, you know, in a perfect world, we'd be able to lift these things off straight. But usually we have to rock them to get them to come loose, and that causes you to crack the joint a little bit. This is also, this whole game is actually surprisingly
smart,
unmolested as well. Usually games of this vintage, especially Williams games, they have been used and abused and put away wet, and unless someone has, you know, been using it for a while or it's been like well serviced for years, you usually don't find them without people doing work to them or having original components on the power supplies and such. So I'm actually kind of surprised. But it's also a pleasant surprise because I do like being the first person to come in and screw things up. Then all I have is to blame myself instead of a faceless person that did the work before me.
No face.
Wait, hold on. I'm not doing that one. We're taking that one out anyways because that's the GI, so I don't need to mess with that.
Kyle just starts sucking like the wrong part of the board.
No, I just want to get this thing back in and at least usable for a minute. We're even going to attach it with like the same 2 screws that was holding it in before, even though that is also not recommended. With these Williams boards, and most circuit boards for that matter, the screws also provide a path to ground. So it is very important for you to try to make sure you have all your ground screws. And if you do not, order some right now. It's either a number 6 by 3/8, get a 1/2 inch just in case, or a number 8 by 3/8 or 1/2 inch, and that'll secure almost all of the pinball boards to your cabinets. So order them now. Use our sweet free shipping code that Steve came up with very quickly.
Loincloth.
PT Loincloth.
And now everyone in the chat has been asking if Kyle is going to wear a loincloth.
No.
At the end of the show.
Aww.
My body is not pleasing to look at.
9.
But maybe. We'll see. I'm going to quickly douse some solder on here. These big traces,
I'm so excited.
this big trace that I'm working on takes a long time to actually heat up. So you want to really leave your soldering iron on here for a hot minute. You're not going to do any damage. The one thing you do need to be aware of, and again, this still is a number 1 difficulty, but the leaving your soldering iron on too long on some of these header pins, you can cause the pin to actually heat up so much that it will melt its way out of its housing.
Oh, wow.
So be careful.
So you should give it a 2. Difficulty.
Nah, this is pretty simple. I think
I'm gonna build a graphic that has like a thermometer that sits on like the side of our screen somewhere, and then anytime you're doing a particular task, we'll change that thermometer out.
I can rate it.
Pretty good. Yeah. Like,
This is pretty simple because you're not swapping anything, you're not changing anything, you don't need to worry about taking something out clean, you know, we're not installing a socket, we're not repairing something that's damaged. Well, we are, but it's not, this is wear and tear damage, not abuse or like massive failure damage. This is just, this thing was not designed to continue working for 40 years, and we need to keep it working for another 40 years.
I need to practice on my mounds, on my pyramids, my solder pyramids.
Yeah, I'm doing this without even looking. Halfway because
where's your fan, Kyle?
that's half the reason I'm not doing it without looking very close is because we don't have a fan in here.
He goes.
I'm good at holding my breath. This is the first time the air conditioning has been on in this building in quite some time, and that is actually having a positive effect on the solder coming towards my face.
Oh, Pin Daddy's gonna buy a jeweler's loop now.
Yes.
I just, with a quick search, have found so many different versions wholesale.
Yeah, they're cheap with little plastic lenses. I need to order a couple more too, but I'm going to buy some for our store, and then I will use that one. I'm going to buy a couple of them, and I will find one that is Kyle approved, so we won't be buying something super cheap. This one that I have is a 10X. I think I've also, at one point I had like a 20X or something like that for even more zoom, but I either crushed it or lost it or something, so I don't have it.
What brand is that? Does it even have a brand on it?
No, Jeweler Loop Factory. I'm sure they all come from the same damn place.
But that's glass, right? Your lens is glass?
Maybe. Yes, it's glass.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not, yeah, don't get a plastic one, especially if it's going to live in your toolbox.
No.
Okay, let me plug this thing in really quick.
Yay!
And we'll see what's going on. I want to at least be able to try testing some of the functions of the game. As much as I try to force people not to do work twice and do it all at once and don't take things in and out if you don't have to, we're doing that because not every episode of this show can be working on circuit boards. I am literally buried in circuit board work right now, though, which is fun. I can't, these things are awful. I hate mounting these things into these cabinets. They don't mount up well, they don't line up well, and they're hard to hold. There's no like center screw you can put in to hang it, so you kind of have to like hold it in one hand and balance the screw in the other and hope you find the hole so you can start threading the screw in, but also not letting the thing like flop around so you don't damage it. These things are just not very serviceable, especially compared to the Bally games. The Williams service model was essentially, it breaks, you go to your distributor, you get a new part, and you send the board off for repair. They started including a little bit more diagnostical things on these later games. The System 7 games have the little blanking and whatever LED, and then a little alphanumeric block on the computer that will give you an error depending on what's wrong. If it shows 1, you've got one of your RAMs is faulty. If it shows 6, you've got a game ROM faulty. So at least it tries to tell you something. But the earlier versions of this, System 6 and earlier, they didn't have anything. It was terrible. And they're so hard to fix. Well, they're hard to fix. It's just annoying to fix. The best way to fix them is to have multiple boards so you can swap things between a working and a non-working game to figure out which component is bad. I think we've talked about it. The computer and the driver board need to be able to talk to each other, so they both need to be good, and which is why I always tell everyone, like, you don't do anything to these games until you switch out the connector, the 40-pin interconnect. If you have one lost bit, the whole thing won't work. It's annoying. It's a bad design. A bad design for longevity. I'm sure it was totally fine in 1980. This thing's a little burnt up.
If there's an episode of testing coils, I don't think we've done.
No, coils are really easy to test. It either works or it doesn't. If it's melted, it's bad. If it's open and you don't have any resistance through it, it's bad. But generally, the coil is not your problem. Generally, but not always. Okay, so it's booted up, but this board does not have any batteries in it. Oh wait, maybe it's not. Why don't I have any displays? Okay, hold on. This doesn't need the 6 volts to run the displays, does it? Let's move this.
Oh, you're using the light to hold it open?
Yeah.
Multitasking, great.
Ooh, okay. Maybe I am wrong. Hold on. Okay, no, I'm very wrong. We still have an issue. We did have some very badly cracked solder, but what we're going to want to do, look, we gave it a chance, right? But in this case, we are going to replace this header, and we are going to replace this connector as well. It's not worth it to try and cheap out on this sort of a thing, right? You've got 20 minutes of your time invested into making a new connector. You've got maybe $4 in parts or $5 in parts to get both of those things working again, but let's see how long we can keep it booted. But we're definitely going to want to redo that. That's something I'll do off camera. Maybe we'll do the plug on camera. It's a little hard to film inside the head with good light and good angles, but let's hope that it stays on. We have no GI because I removed the general illumination connector from the power supply since it was badly burnt and soldered up, but we do have feature lights. They're beautiful. They're bright. Our displays work, and they look very good. That makes me happy. I really like the gas plasma displays because I find them fascinating, but I would put very little troubleshooting into these displays past basic things you'd find on the PinWiki or something like that, because the modern solution is to remove the high voltage stuff and put it in an LED display. It's so much easier, which we sell. I think we are out of stock on this one currently, but they should be back in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Never go wrong with a pin score.
Never. I'll be on this though.
Where is he, Midge?
I'm hiding down by the coin door.
There he is.
On the Williams games.
My shots now.
On the Williams games, you need to replace the whole system. On a Bally game, you can replace one display. The reason you need to replace the whole setup on these Williams games is because they run off of a master board. Let's use the handheld.
Okay.
So this guy controls all of your displays. You've got power coming in here. You've got digit and segment and digit data coming in here. And then this controls all of those signals and figures out where they need to go. So you would not be able to replace just one display with an LED display because you still got the high voltage going through everything. On these guys, we've designed the system to replace this board, remove or make this unnecessary, but they all have to be replaced in one set. So
Nice.
that board set changes has changed many times throughout many different Williams games. They 6-digit, 7-digit, 7-digit card edge, 7-digit with pins. It's a pain in the butt. Anyways, let's use the self-diagnostics to see if anything works. Have we done this kind of control before?
Yeah, we did this with strikes and spares, stars and strikes.
I think we might have done it on
spares.
Time Warp too, but let's go through it.
Oh, and fire. I
And
think.
fire? Okay. Well, I'm not going to give
But
the
it's
whole...
always good. We can go through it. It's
Okay.
always good to see.
Right now, the game is in
look,
a track mode.
Hodgepodge. I don't own a pinball machine yet, but love the enthusiasm and education. Well, this segment right here, Hodgepodge, is for you. Hopefully that's not a bot
Thank you.
being so nice to us.
On the Williams games, you've got a 3-button system. Want to pan this sucker down and just do the hands for a second? The 2 important buttons that you need to navigate the menu, and we're going to go into the test menu here, are the one on the right and the one here in the center. The one in the center is a 2-position switch. So you've got the down position and the up position, or the unclicked position and the clicked position. And the way I always remember this, and I know that you definitely crossed your eyes and thought I was insane last time I said this, Emoto, was it's like to get into the test menu, we have to back the car out of the driveway, right? If we push the button on the right and go into the menu system, it's immediately going to put us into the adjustments and the audits. So we want to get into the test menu. So to do that, we're going to back that car up, put it in reverse, put the center button down, right? So that means we're going to start going in reverse. We're going to hit the gas, which will now put us in the test menu. And now that we are out of the driveway and it's time to go through the test menu, we push this middle button one more time to put it into drive, and then we hit the gas again and go forward. So now that we're in the test menu, yes, that is obnoxious and ridiculous, but I've never forgotten
How can you
it.
see on this game? How can you see you're in the test menu?
Well, right now, the first test is the display test. So go back to the Sony cam.
Yeah.
So Steve can show us all the tests here. It might be hard to see because of the way that the high voltage displays show. I don't know if you can actually see the numbers, but right now it's testing every digit. If we push this button again, it's going to put us into sound mode test. I don't know if that one was right.
I'll give him.
That might be, I don't know. We'll see. We play a game, we'll find out if we have a corrupt sound ROM. The next test is our lamp test, which is going to strobe every single feature or computer-controlled lamp in the game. And it's lovely to see most of them working. The next test is our solenoid test.
Thank you, Wild Man.
So now every single solenoid is going to be pulsed.
Oh, right. We can hear it.
We've got all the drop targets going up individually,
and it
which is kind
counts
of
it.
fun.
So that number is going to tell us how many solenoids are in the game, how many coils there are?
Well,
no, surely not. 19,
no, but
20
what
coils? 21 coils? No, what does that counter do?
What that counter does is it tells us which solenoid it is testing currently. So if we looked in the manual, it would tell us which solenoid was which. I think I can actually pause it.
So
Yeah.
there's 22 solenoids in this game?
Yeah. So if I push the center button down, it will lock it onto one test, and then I can use the red button to advance it to the next solenoid. You don't want to leave it on too long because these things, a lot of these solenoids are not meant to be fired over and over and over again so quickly. But here, Steve, will you zoom in on these guys?
And flashers are counted in that number too?
Yes, but there weren't flashers in this era of game. Well, there were, but they weren't controlled differently.
The LCD screen, Midge, to get it to focus.
So
I see you tapping this camera. Oh my god.
So I think we've got. Beautiful. I mean, we've got them. They're working. The ball release is working. That is the general illumination relay. I can hear it clicking. Number 3. Number 4 is left side drop target reset. Number 5 is right side drop target reset.
Okay.
Number 6 is doing nothing. But what we need to do is sometimes you do have a unused solenoid drive or something. And the manual might actually tell us. I have the instruction booklet, which might say something. Solenoid 6 is the buzzer which is disconnected.
Oh, that we saw was disconnected.
Hold on.
No.
Let's see if we can touch these wires together and get a buzz. Come on. No.
Don't shock yourself.
Oh, man. Oh, well, shuck. If I have a dead buzzer, I'm just going to get rid of this game immediately. No, I don't. Oh, there it goes. Do you see me jump?
Yeah. Why would you disconnect that? That was a cool sound.
Oh, it's because it's terrible, and it goes on forever in the game. Okay, it works. Great.
What is it supposed to be, like a monkey?
I think when you get like an extra ball or a free game, or no, because this game actually has a bell too. It has a chime bell, like Black Knight does. I forget what the buzzer actually signals, but it goes on for a really long time and it's awful. Number 7 is this right saucer kick out. Number 8 is this upper saucer kick out. Number 9 is the left target. That one, that one, that one, that one. Number 14 is the drop. 15 is the bell. 16 is the coin lockout.
What? Nolan, these sounds are great.
We've got the left slingshot, right slingshot, upper slingshot, the bagatelle kick out.
Yeah, the little bagatelle guy came out. A little baby.
So now I hear a relay clicking underneath. So one of those is for the magnet. So let's see.
For the magnet?
Yeah, can you get the camera to show that? Check it out. Did you see that? Is that
see, that's what magnet saves always do to me.
But that's the fun thing about this game
they don't save it. They make me lose it chaotically.
Oh, okay, that's so neat. That's fun for some reason. 23. Let's see what number 23 is.
Oh.
This is not the most efficient way to test solenoids. This is just very fun, and it's making me giddy. Number 23 is nothing. So at that point, we have no. There are 22 driven devices on this game. I believe this board has a capacity to do a little more than that, but oh well, 25 is the enable relay inside. And then it goes back to number 1. The next test is going to be the switch test, and then that brings us back to going into the audits and adjustments menu. So the test is very powerful, but what this tells me now is like, other than the fact that we have a kind of unreliable power supply, which we will be fixing and is not a difficult thing to repair, we have a game that has all of the devices functioning. I think I've talked about this a bazillion times, but I didn't do it. We should have checked all the fuses to make sure that they were fused correctly. We should have kind of gone in. I kind of did and touched things and make sure we didn't have any burnt up solenoids or anything like that. If we tried to drive a burnt up or melted coil. It could have popped one of our transistors, but it looked clean enough. I was confident. So yeah, this will be a pretty fun and straightforward project. This one is going to get a little bit of upgrades. We're going to upgrade those lower flippers for sure. These guys will probably rebuild and hopefully call it a day. We're going to tear this thing apart. I'm going to clean it. I'm going to replace things that are nasty. We'll probably put new posts in it because new posts always make things look better. It looks like we have very minimal work to do underneath the playfield and in the back box. Hopefully, other than repinning this connector, repairing this connector, replacing these capacitors, maybe redoing the power or the soundboard. I mean, it's done. So that's very nice. That's nice. Now I say that like it's going to be easy. That is a good amount of work, even for someone who is experienced. It's not hard work, but it's a lot of time. If I had everything I needed and y'all locked me into this room and I wasn't streaming and I wasn't moving cameras, I mean, this is still, I mean, that's 10 plus hours of work. It's not only that and getting this all nice, it's also adjusting lane guides and making sure it plays okay. That's cleaning the cabinet, replacing the leg levelers, vacuuming the cabinet, removing all the muck and grime from places, replacing lamps, replacing lamp sockets. You know, I can easily say it'll take about 10 hours, but that 10 hours can balloon into 15 to 20 hours very easily. But yeah.
Just take your time. Get it done right.
I mean, that took 2 hours to begin with, so I'm already 2 hours deep. But
so, Kyle, we are at 4:30 here.
Wow, I talked for a really long time. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, so if you want to take a seat at your desk, we'll do a product spotlight. We'll do Q&A with Kyle.
Oh, I forgot we had to do the product spotlight.
We have a few questions from the chat too. You're
I'm
on
sure.
an awesome roll, so I didn't want to interrupt you. But our first question we had. Something with Brett. Brett was asking on plasma displays. Wow. Awesome.
I'm not going to say anything.
L's. I blame my mother. Plasma displays. What causes flicker, fade, or a line disappear? But it's good in test mode.
Good in test mode. That's odd. Without getting into like the
sometimes there are just blank numbers not assigned. In the test, a board are designed for more than one machine.
What I would say, and I'm pretty sure, I'm pretty sure you might be talking about your stars, Rhett. I would recommend taking those displays out and doing what we just did, reflow the solder on all of the pins on those displays. That usually solves almost all of your issues with Bally displays that are doing weird things. Sometimes that could mean if it's doing something odd like that, or it flickering on and off in a strange way. It's weird that you say it's working in test, but one missing bit of data can cause all sorts of weird stuff on those displays. I don't want to explain how they work right now because I probably wouldn't stop talking for another hour because I find them so fascinating. But I would start there.
Nice. Oh, you're going to take out the board so you can work on it while you talk?
I need to work on it eventually. And I know I'm coming here on Saturday.
Matt the Sprat is here saying, hey there, I'm the fella in Scotland who just bought some bumper caps.
Hey!
Nice. Thanks for joining us.
That's awesome.
What did you buy bumper caps for?
Did you see our little flyer we may have put into your package that went to Scotland?
Ooh.
Thank you for joining. It's late. Jeez. I mean, I know Scotland? Germany is 7 hours ahead
Daniel,
from here.
Daniel, what time is it in Croatia right now?
And then subtract like 4 hours for Scotland, 3 hours?
Nice. I'm not quite sure, Kyle, if Mr. Valansky approves of your epic reverse out of the driveway analogy.
Well, tell him to ask Chris, because Chris is the one that taught me about that, and I've never forgotten it. So I found that one to be very effective for some reason.
Oh, Nolan has the flyer hanging on his game room wall because the art is cool. What flyers did we put in the package?
Yeah, wait, which flyer?
The rubber ring gauge flyer. That's my favorite one.
That thing's handy. Yeah, I'm just going to take this thing out. I don't care.
The wizard booklet. Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Guide. That wizard, our Marco wizard, was designed by Dirty Donnie.
Yep, and was based on Steve, the wonderful cameraman.
No. Was it really based on you?
No.
Because I always like, man, this looks just like Midge. If Midge was like, 160 years old.
And had like tons of magical powers. I mean, who knows? Maybe he does.
He does.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Dirty Donnie, you guys know he's a famous pinball artist of the recent times.
He's a famous artist that turned famous pinball artist.
Yes.
That guy's done some cool stuff.
Cool stuff before pinball, and then we got to keep him for a little bit.
That's right.
No one would like a pin up of Midge. Ooh.
Ooh, me too.
That's like you need to PM him on Twitch for that one.
It's in the mail, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Midge, Merlin.
Onlyfans.com/the Midge.
Here, we can give you an emote. We do have the most epic Midge emotes right there. The Steve Brogy. So good. All right. So, we should do the product spotlight, Kyle.
Oh, I thought we were doing questions.
See if people wanted questions, but let's go. We did a little reverse today because we're
hold on. I need to find where'd the product spotlight go?
New. We're in a jungle. Do you guys like the jungle layout? I should put like leaves and stuff.
All right, I'm ready. Roll that thing.
Okay. And here is our product spotlight of the day.
No. I always like to try to do this like I'm a man, but I have no energy to be TV pitch man right now. Oh, I know.
All right, you're live.
Another long piece of metal. Check this out. This is another selfish project for Kyle. I had a Meteor or a Sea Witch or something, one of my old Stern games, and I did not have a back glass lockdown bar. And when I got here, this was a product I really, really wanted to get made because I needed one. And if I needed one, some other people probably needed one too. This is a early Stern back glass lockdown bar. Unlike Bally, which had a lot of money and used a lovely bar that was controlled by the lock in the game to then move forward and hold the back glass in place, Stern used a much cheaper approach and used this piece, which is the top of the trim of the glass. So this sits on top of the glass, and there's another bar that just comes in and blocks these little tabs right here. But they go missing, and when back glasses break, these probably also get tossed out with the game, and now that people are building games from scratch, someone might need these. So I had these things made by a very talented metal shop out in Illinois. These people have made pinball parts for decades, and they really knocked this one out of the park. So these are available now. I don't remember how much they are, but I'm sure one of you might need one. Especially also with the way that people are making games like so clean and perfect and shiny now, replacing your old dingy one like this one, which isn't actually that dingy, but you know, you can get new stuff now, which I think is just so entertaining. This was the sample we sent, and this is what we got back, and it's an incredible, perfect match. So,
oh wow,
yeah, that's my product spotlight. That's a part.
I just dropped the link in the chat. It's $21.99.
Yeah,
nice.
And that's the other nice thing is we were able to get those for a very good price too, considering. That one is a odd-shaped piece. It's a little expensive to ship, but it is, you know, try to pass the savings on whenever possible. So when you do install those things on your game, I do recommend getting like some hockey grip tape or something like that, and putting like a very thin bit of hockey grip tape or something on the top of your back glass, maybe 1 or 2 strands, and that will allow the back glass lock bar to really sit on there nice and snug. If not, it will rattle and it can start damaging the ink on the back of the glass, which will then make it want to start falling apart. So a little bit of extra support behind it is a nice way to do it. Anyways.
Awesome. All right, well, yep, mTorch here said gaff tape. How does my audio sound? Am I clippy? I think maybe I was clippy because I got really excited and I was really up close to my mic. I've since
the heck?
backed up.
I've never used gaff tape to do that job. I just think that I think hockey grip tape is a little bit thicker than gaff tape, so you might be able to do the less is more. But it's probably you probably also have to go like get hockey grip tape from a specialty store where you might be able to find gaff tape at like the hardware store. So your mileage may vary, but.
Oh, IndiePin said friction tape.
I have no idea what that is, but that's exactly what we're trying to do, is add friction. So.
Oh, look, Phil's Pinball's here.
Hey, Phil.
Nice. He likes your piece that you got made.
Oh,
IndiePin's
good.
asked where in Illinois?
In Chicago. A lot of manufacturing still exists in Chicago. And a lot of the people that made parts for pinball are still making parts for pinball. It's incredible. What is still made in the U.S. A lot of the stuff that we do get made is made in the United States, which is fun to work with some of these vendors that have been doing this for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone, we have about 20 minutes left in the show, and we'd love to open it up to a Q&A for Kyle. Ask him anything. Try to keep it pinball relevant. But if you have any questions on a repair that you're stuck on with your games or anything like that, Kyle and the experts in our chat room would love to help you.
We can leave the last 2 minutes for beer talk, but that's about it.
Yeah, last 2 minutes, all the beer talkers will come in. Okay, Nolan, here we go. Kyle, exclamation mark, all caps. My Sopranos has an optional solenoid line for a proper knocker to replace that unholy squelch sound. But it's only 5 volts. How?
Is it 5 volts even when the thing is trying to go, right? Put it in solenoid test and toss your meter on it and wait for it to get to the knocker, and I guarantee you it won't be 5 volts anymore. But that is a mod everyone needs to do to their Stern pinball machines. If I do actually get to buy my first brand new pinball machine, the first thing I'm going to do to it is put a real knocker in it. That's one of the first things I did to my TNA. You gotta have a real knocker.
Nice. He said it's 5 volts in the schematics.
Huh. I'm not sure. Honestly, I've never installed a knocker on a game that old, but yeah, I can guarantee you if you go hook your multimeter up to it and run solenoid test, you'll probably get more than 5 volts.
All right, let's see who else.
I think we had a little bit of a charge in one of those capacitors because when I was pulling the pin out, I got a little bit of a plunk. It's okay though. I'm going to just take these headers out.
It's Lit Pinball says, replacing solid rivets on plastic ramps. What's the best way to approach removing rivets and redoing them onto new ramps without causing damage?
Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but the only way to do it really well is to spend money and buy the right tools. Removing rivets is very easy with a very careful hand and a drill bit. But to install the rivets, you definitely are going to want to buy the correct tool. There are a few options. It depends on the ramp too, because we sell a rivet tool that is good for some things. But there are some ramps that have rivets that are necessary so far deep that the rivet tool we have won't reach those rivets. So if you're just trying to rivet on a ramp flap, that might work okay. But I guess the thing that what I would tell you is like, for example, roller games, right? Picture that ramp. It's massive. It's gigantic, and it has flasher lamps like right in the middle of it, like 4, 5, 6 inches away from the edge. Replace those with threaded hardware. Rivets are very quick for manufacturing, right? But in threaded hardware is a little more expensive to a manufacturer, but to you it doesn't cost much. So when you can, replace it with just screws and nuts, but I would definitely wouldn't recommend screwing up your new ramp with a wrong tool. So go buy a riveting tool.
Yep, and Crystal just posted the rivet tool that we sell on the Blue Continental.
That one should be good for basically every single ramp flap.
I was wondering what that was for. Oh, we got an easy squeeze rivet tool and a rivet tool for solid and tubular rivets. So maybe one of those will help you out. Get both of them. And then use a free shipping code. Oh no, what happened?
What?
Oh, weird. Just the team viewer just went crazy for a second. I was like, no.
My head like immediately.
Oh no, deer in headlights. Okay, awesome. Great question. Great answer. Let's see. Scrolling up a little, iSkidoo, who's claiming to be a bot but asking good questions, asked if we considered selling pinball streaming gear. No, and I will drop a link. Jack Danger has put together a great article that could help pinball streamers. We actually went off of that article too to get all of our starter gear.
Yeah.
So it's a great place to start. And then as you grow and you have different needs because of your content, you just start adding to it.
Yep, that guy really knows how to stream. And there's a lot of a rather large learning curve to getting all this stuff working.
We always have technical issues, so don't feel bad if you have technical issues. And, if you do have questions, and you're seriously about to start a stream, you can email me, emoto@marcopinball.com or marcotv@marcopinball.com. Might be easier. And I'd love to help troubleshoot. Let's see. Indie Pins. I've been trying to replace some leaf switch contacts by matching switch products from the Marco website. But today just realized one of the contacts is double-sided. Any suggestions on how to find that? Do you have the part number?
Huh. No, he's probably trying to replace a double-sided contact on a relay switch.
Oh.
Man, I don't know. I've never seen that. You know what, man? I've got so many junked relays and little switches and stuff like that. Send me a picture of the switch or the leaf that you need, and I might have one, and I'll just send it to you. I'm not sure.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, we have so many leaf switch products in stock that it's actually very cumbersome and difficult to search our website for it. That's something I would like to fix at some time. But I honestly don't know if we have a double-sided contact. I've never seen something like that. Like in our store or in our warehouse, etc. And Steve kind of gave me a deer in the headlights look also, so I have a feeling that we don't know.
Thanks for
asking, because that just you constantly remind me that we really need to make that better on our site.
So, Steve, that would be a good user story to add to our list. We love those. All right. Oh man, Richard Scheller left. He was here for the beer talk, but had to go walk the dog.
Aw.
Phil's Pinball said something cool earlier. I'm trying to find it. Where are you at, Phil?
Phil always has something cool to say. I want to go play his Spider-Man that is at a local beer bar that is very, very wide open and nice to drink in because you can separate yourself from people.
Oh, Phil said, I wonder if they have a knocker snubberboard. Do you know?
I don't remember.
Can you make it?
I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I don't know. You're right. Maybe they could have had. There could have been a lighter signal sent to a a board that would be like, yeah, no, knocker, do your thing. I don't remember. Check the manual. That might be helpful. It might be in there, but I don't remember ever seeing that in there. So.
All right, Wildman's got a good one. Maybe it's long.
Oh.
Right. Wildman. I'm still working on my Twilight Zone. I'm just going to stop talking. I'm still working on my Twilight Zone. The bottom flippers don't work in game mode, but they do work in test mode. It looks like they run the flipper button into 2 optos and maybe one is not working, but this is happening on both bottom flippers. Not sure where to look next. Ooh, you got this one, Kyle. You got this one.
Well, no, I remember this question now. Like I had like a PTSD moment, like thinking about how I couldn't figure out how that was working again.
Well, imagine how he feels. His Twilight Zone's still not working.
Okay, wait. Now, here, I guess clarify this for me. They work in test mode. So when you're in test mode and you hit the flipper button, the actual flipper goes thunk. Or does only the switch report in test mode? Because yes, they are run off of an opto switch, or not. They're not run off of an opto switch, but the switch, the little board inside the cabinet says, okay, hey, the button's moved, and then that sends a signal up to your Fliptronic board, which then does the magic. So clarify for me if working in test mode means the flipper does something, or if it's just reporting a switch opening. Because that's going to be the important thing.
No, when the test fires the solenoid that works.
Yeah, okay, so the computer can control the solenoid, but the flipper opto circuit cannot. What you've probably got is an issue between, it's not an actual power issue with the drives for the flipper, but you've got an issue with the computer knowing when those things are open, right? So put it in test mode and give it a push, right? And see if the flipper optos report as opening and closing. I have a feeling we've been down this road. This is feeling very deja vu-y. I wish I had my Twilight Zone here right now so I could show you.
Isn't it right there behind you?
No.
Next to X-Files?
I let one of my coworkers borrow it, so it's not here right now.
Ooh.
But I need to get it back because he broke it. So.
Are you making eye contact with Steve right now?
No, I'm making eye contact with Ryan through the computer to where he's not watching this, but cosmically he's hearing me blame him for breaking my game.
You know his ears are burning now. He's going to log in, so don't do anything.
Yeah, so what you got is you've got the Fliptronic system.
He goes, yes, I get the EOS switch when I push them.
But not the EOS switch, because the EOS switch is different. The EOS switch doesn't... The EOS switch doesn't really matter in that circuit for what we're trying to fix. What you need to do is you need to push the flipper buttons. There's 2 boards, one on either side of the cabinet, and they have 2 opto pairs on them. And the button is connected to a little... Hold on.
Midge joins the chat just to talk about fries. No, rest in peace, fries. I will miss my astronaut ice cream.
Which camera is it? This one. Okay. This is inside your Twilight Zone on the cabinet.
You will have a better chance of putting that on the handheld, and I will.
Okay, fine. Sorry, I turned your thing around, Steve. I had these parts, and I don't have to use my hands in weird ways to try to do like miming. This is inside your cabinet. I believe this is the one that is used in Twilight Zone. The later ones change the direction of the optos, whatever. What happens, right, is this, actually, hell, I'll just put it together. You push the flipper button pushes this thing away, which then breaks the stream between the optos, right? When that stream is broken, that tells the computer or the Fliptronic board to say, hey, make the flippers go. The end of stroke switch doesn't matter. Forget about the end of stroke switch for right now. This is what matters. If you can go to switch test mode and hit the flippers and you see lower flipper, upper flipper, or something like that, then if you don't get that, that's where your problem is.
And he says, I only get one set of the inputs when I push the flipper button.
One set. So only one side is working? Because remember, you've got 2 separate switches on this board, right?
Yes, only one opto works on both sides.
The
mystery.
What else doesn't work on the game? I mean, do we have like a bunch of optos that aren't working? These report to the computer, I think. Or I don't remember if they report to the computer or the Fliptronic board. I think it's the computer. But if you're missing, if you might be missing 12 volts to one of these things, you could have cracked solder on these guys. The usual test is I'll swap them from side to side. If the problem follows the side, you've got a bad board. These things are cheap. It might be worth checking out replacing this set or borrowing them from a friend's game if you have a friend that has a game of this era. But what you have is, I'm double checking here. Are there 2 separate 12-volt paths or is it just one? Yeah, this is a type 1. The type 2, I think, moves the optos.
One only has one opto.
No.
No, it has 2, but they're really close together.
I thought this isn't the type 1?
Type 2.
Oh, this is the later one. Okay. So this is a bad example. This is the later opto board. But either way, man, send me an email so I can send you some links to things to look at. I want to do some reading before I spout off any more bad information. But yeah.
Wildman Kyle at marcopinball.com. Shoot me an email. We'll continue the conversation there. Let's get that Twilight Zone working.
That's a peculiar one.
We keep getting a question in here, and I'm sorry, Patrick, I keep not asking it. Was asking, what is the development of those troubleshooting circuit breakers?
Oh, I knew someone would ask that. This is the type 1?
Wait.
Yeah,
I thought this was the newer one. And whatever. Funny you asked that because I forgot about that. I mean, I haven't forgotten about it, but I've had to put it on the back burner a little bit. I don't think so. Sorry, Steve and I are arguing about, or not arguing, we're talking about flipper optos. I'd like to get those made, but that'll come soon. I would like to revamp the tools on our website. Not revamp, but I would like to offer the good line and then maybe introduce the better line. If you want something a little more similar to what I use, maybe I would like to add a couple more tools, more premium line of things, and maybe that could be part of that rollout. Those circuit breakers are so handy. I'm sorry, I'm just hogging them to myself.
It's all right. All right, well, it's 4:58. You guys get 2 minutes of beer chat. Colin is here. Everyone on his team got fired except him. So he's ready to talk about beer.
That's gnarly. Well,
Wisp is here. Had a tough day too. Ready to talk about beer. I don't see Daniel.
Today was a tough day for me too, but it's very enjoyable now that we're here doing the PinTech part. Beer, I couldn't find Hop Slam. I unfortunately keep not going to the actual good liquor store in town, but I keep going to the really high-end grocery places that should have it, but they're sold out. And I'm afraid at this point it might be too late for me to find Hop Slam. But I will be passing by that liquor store today while I go get my other beer. I'm going to stop by and check it out.
Nice.
That's my beer chat.
What's
up with South Carolina having a lot of really good sour beers too? No, there's some good ones out there, man. No, they're good. They're good.
No one's streaming pinball right now.
Really?
I'm also looking for someone to raid. We have virtual pinball.
That don't count.
Yeah, right. We have Sierra Nevada. Like the Torpedo.
So Torpedo is a good IPA.
Good breakfast. Colin said it's not too late to find Hop Slam.
Okay.
Said sours are awesome.
Some are obnoxious, but I find them to be enjoyable in certain times. It's funny, Sierra Nevada used to be like my nothing whatever beer, and over here it's like a little more lauded. I don't know. I guess they have a brewery in North Carolina, or is it in Chicago? In Asheville? That's good stuff.
Man, we should do virtual pinball. Right.
So we're gonna have I keep saying this, but I do almost have my pinball room set up at my house, and it is time to start trying to stream from my house and see if my Spectrum internet is any good. So I am excited to do that again.
Hazy Little Things IPA by SN Sierra Nevada.
That's some good stuff. It's funny though, Rhett actually, I met Rhett via Steve. Steve hooked me up with him, and he makes some incredible beef jerky. But Rhett actually, before I moved here, he lived like 40 miles from where I lived, which is funny. But it's funny, Rhett, when you come out here, like the IPA thing has been hazy for a really long time, and then they just kind of trickled into California in the last like 3 years, and now everyone makes a hazy IPA. But out here, they started it here. Well, not here, but this coast, you know?
Yeah, Rhett, I think we would love to get some more jerky from you.
Oh, yeah.
When you're ready.
And I'm sorry I haven't responded to your email about stars, but I have been up to my shoulders in emails over the last couple days.
It took so long to get an answer for that, Patrick, but hopefully we will get back on track with those circuit breaker tester thingies. And we'll put trackers on them, right?
Like what?
That you can find them on your phone.
I had a really good stout at Transmission Arcade yesterday while I was waiting for my to-go fries. It was like a 5%, like just a tasty little drinker. I really like that. But
oh yeah, right. Indie Pins really wants to know if you know about fries. Of course he knows about fries.
oh my God. Yeah, that's terrible. You know what though? It's not though, because it's kind of like it's sad that it doesn't exist anymore, but fries in the past 5 years has really sucked. Like
past 10 years.
The last time I went into fries, like half the shelves were empty, like they were not stocked, and like stuff was just like shoved all over the place on the floor. I mean, it's kind of normal for fries, but you know, I guess it's better for them to go out now with some positive memories instead of them just really continuing down the
center. That's
path.
An awesome store.
I wish we had an electronics store here. I mean, we are the electronics store here. We have people calling us all the time being like, hey, do you have this resistor? It's like, yeah, what's it for? Well, a TV. And like, oh.
We sold resistors to the zoo one time.
Really?
Yeah, it was for like an elephant enclosure door.
Oh, cool.
I think we had, one time someone got a phone call from like some FBI agent that was like trying to fix a TV or something. And it was like, his email was at fbi.gov. Cool. We are fries of South Carolina.
Yeah, Los Angeles had really awesome fries. They had one where UFOs like in the building, like smashed into the building. I think that was the Burbank one.
Yeah, that one was in Burbank.
So crazy.
We had I think it was in Sunnyvale.
Hey, Colin is still it's 5:03.
We can have a couple more questions. If we find anyone to more raid, just one more, a couple more.
Look up at your camera operator. Which direction is he nodding?
Right there.
Which direction is he nodding? Like this or?
I'm not gonna rat on him.
Hey, so Colin says I like McDonald's fries the best. Colin wants to know if you guys like 10% plus rippers.
Not so much anymore.
Stout.
Okay, in a stout, yes, but in something else, not really.
Totally, man. Yeah, I'm with that all day long. Not what Kyle was saying, but yeah.
I'm a quantity and quality kind of guy.
Double two-hearted for me, man.
I'd rather be sitting out drinking like
cool
5 liters of a delicious 5% beer than like a couple, because I'm a lightweight, but you know.
Yeah, I can drink some barley wine. I like it.
Ooh, I can't do barley wines anymore. They're too rough. Fries, I don't know. I don't know what my favorite French fry is anymore, though. Like, In-N-Out used to be pretty good, but I don't have In-N-Out anymore, and they weren't even that good to begin with.
I miss the Wendy's fries from like the 90s.
90s Wendy's fries? Huh. Jack in the Box has good fries. If you found a good.
I saw that roller pinball.
I don't remember 90s Wendy's fries. I like waffle. You know what? Some of my favorite French fries I've had in a long time are from Lowe's Foods, the Lowe's branded frozen French fries. You just go home and make them yourself. They're really dang good. I don't know. You know, my favorite French fries, though, from an establishment right now is definitely from a local arcade. They have incredible French fries.
Yeah, Transmission's fries are really.
They were really good. I went there last night just to get French fries so I could make dinner with them.
Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Yeah, those are pretty good.
Those are pretty good.
Yeah.
They are good.
But that's not a French fry.
It's a French fry?
It's a French fry, but it's not
It's not julienne.
It's not a julienne French fry. It's its own kind of fry. Because I think waffle cut fries are definitely superior just on their own. They're just better than a regular julienne French fry. But I don't know, man.
Yeah, everyone's telling me Mystery Pinball Theater 3000 is streaming. They're done with the beer and the fries and the fry.
No, you're the only one who's done with the beer and the fries. Be honest.
Hey, there's like 4 people in here that is like Mystery Pinball Theater is streaming now. And I'm like,
well, good. Let's go raid him. Now, here's actually for anyone else who actually cares about learning anything right now. I think there is one thing weird with these Williams boards, and you've got 2 different size connectors nowadays. You've got square pins and round pins, and the Williams boards were designed for round pins. It is kind of difficult to get square pins through, so keep that in mind. I'll struggle with it off camera, so it makes it look like I know what I'm doing.
The jungle and beef jerky.
What are you talking about?
Well, Rhett asked, well, what do you like, Emoto? You know, and I tried to
Emoto, what's your favorite
as
beer?
smoothly as I can.
Emoto doesn't drink beer.
Emoto pounds
it
beers.
makes my face too red. Well, Eternal Grammy, going back to the fries conversation, this is the last thing we're going to say. Waffle cut fries in Japanese curry is the best.
Ooh, that sounds great.
I've never tried that, but that.
With that, can we just use like an S&B? What is it S&B? The curry, like, can you just like make a curry out of those, or do we need to have like a real Japanese grandma make us some curry for that to be super good?
No,
I want that
the
now.
Blocks.
Yeah, just the blocks, dude.
That's
Okay.
traditional.
I'm gonna
That's
go to the
what they
Korean
use.
market and get some kimchi tomorrow, so maybe I'll get some of that when I'm there too.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry now.
I know.
I am so hungry.
Okay, I'm done. I'm ready.
Well, thank you everybody for joining our show today. We had a great time hanging out
Yes.
with all y'all. We will be doing Jungle Lord repairs for the next few weeks, so stick around for that.
Until Emoto gets
And,
bored of it and says we can't work on it anymore, like Indy
We're gonna
500.
get a different game. It's been 6 months now, Kyle.
Hey man,
Nice.
2 hours at a time takes a long time to do this stuff.
That's awesome. Manu has a DJ from France, and he's playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Oh,
Beautiful.
cool. I love that game.
What was the last thing I was gonna say? Jonathan Bodge, beer combo's over. Sorry. Oh yeah, if you haven't gotten your Walter Day card yet, and you want to be on the legendary Walter Day trading card series, he has the new Our Pinball Legacy series. It's just something all for fun. Oh, there it is. I did still have it. This is kind of like what they look like. I got a lot of submissions.
Why didn't you show Eska's? My wife has one.
I know, well, because I just didn't make it. So
She's so
Eska,
famous
Kyle's
now.
wife made one. Mr. Loaf got a nice looking one.
Oh, yeah.
Wisp, he has one rocking some red flannel. I only remember that because his placement was on top of Rebecca Hinsdale from Hot Nudge, also wearing red flannel, and I laughed at the coincidence. Who else got one? Quite a few of y'all submitted to get cards. So if you are interested, then send me an email, marcotv@marcopinball.com, with the games that you have available. I do have the updated game list with Walter. I've been helping him try to organize it a little bit because it's a pretty chaotic task. And Pin Daddy, which one did you submit again, Pin Daddy? So
I got to
you
get
can
mine.
submit
I got to do
your
mine
photos
this
directly
weekend.
to walterday@yahoo.com, or you can email me and I will help get it to him because a lot of people are sending him information from everywhere. So I'm helping him keep his list updated and making sure we get, people up there. There's a couple duplicates, but it doesn't matter. It's cool. It's a fun project.
Steve needs
Demo
one.
Man. Oh, yeah.
Steve should be last action hero. He can be right next to Giant Arnie.
Yeah. And my one might have already been taken, but we do need to get one of Midge. So maybe after we log out.
Ooh. Yeah. Okay, I like that one. I'm not giving mine away.
I think someone did Baywatch. No one's done Hardbody yet. I'm hoping I can get that one in soon.
Well, you're the gatekeeper, so you can just delete whatever email comes in that has Hardbody anyways.
I wouldn't do that, though. If
Oh,
someone loves Hardbody as much as me, then they should have it. All right.
But you know what he's done plans.
No one will ever do that one.
Oh, God. Rhett, it's a great time to go ahead and raid.
Yeah, last question, Kyle. Are you a Trekkie?
No. Yes. Very, very much so.
End stream.
End it.
4 hours later.
End it now. End it now.
We love Star Trek, but Kyle is definitely master Trekkie.
No. I just love Star Trek. That's all.
Midge, are you challenging him?
No, not at all. No. He knows way more about Star Trek than I do. I'll go ahead and say that.
Steve has a better, broader knowledge of science fiction that I really appreciate. And I also appreciate that we enjoy different parts of science fiction. So it's fun to talk to him about that. Speaking of which, I need to read more.
Yeah. You read books, and we'll see everyone next week.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
Raid.
I had to keep that
Raid,
Star
raid.
Trek thing.
Raid.
Oh,
He got so excited, he almost jumped out of his chair.
You see that?
I was so excited.